shouldn't have listened.
Every night at 3:14, the curtain shifts, like someone sighing behind it. I'm Nora. Small apartment, 3rd floor. Only one window that faces a brick wall. Last week, the landlord bricked the alley shut. The air shouldn't move. The first night I noticed it, the window latch trembled. I thought, wind. I pressed my palm to the glass. It was warm, breathing warmth from outside where nothing is. Then a shape leaned close on the other side, too tall for the frame, mouth level with my eyes. I stepped back, hit record. The phone light reflected my face, and behind it, another face, perfectly aligned, blinking slower than me. When I turned, the glass fogged at mouth height and wrote the number 6 backward from inside. Next night, 2 fogged numbers, 6, then 5. The wall outside remained blank, but my reflection tilted even when I didn't. It smiled like it wanted to see what I'd do next. Last night I covered the window with a sheet. At 3:14, the sheet lifted in a breath and pressed to my cheek like a hand through fabric. When I ripped it down, the fog writing said 3. I called the landlord this morning. He swore the brickwork's solid, no space behind. Tonight, I'm leaving the lights on. The glass is already warm again. The countdown says 2. The knocking started after midnight. 3 taps, pause, 2 taps. Always from under the sink. I'm Jeremy, renting the basement unit beneath an old duplex. Pipes moan, wood swells. That kind of noise doesn't scare me. This one should have. I crouched, flashlight in hand. The drain was dry. A handprint, small, wet. 5 perfect fingers shimmered on the inside of the cabinet door. It was facing the wrong way, like someone pressed outward. I left it open, waited. The pipes exhaled once. Something tapped the flashlight out of my hand. When I picked it up, water dripped from the ceiling, though the upstairs neighbor hadn't run any. At 1:23, the knocking changed. Rhythm became speech. Tap, 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 tap. I realized it was spelling O-P-E-N. I didn't. The bulb flickered. A child's whisper rose from the drain. A slow laugh stretched too long. In the morning, I showed the landlord. He said the plumbing line was sealed 10 years ago. When I opened the cabinet again, the handprint was gone, replaced by a small circle of dry salt, perfectly drawn around the pipe hole. It hasn't knocked since. Sometimes, though, the faucet turns half a rotation by itself, just enough to hiss one breath of air like something testing the boundary. I rent storage in an old church's sub-basement. Yesterday, I found a new stairwell behind the boiler. I'm Eric, electrician. I've walked every level of that place for maintenance. No such stair ever existed. It spiraled down tight, made of old wood that smelled wet. At the first landing, the light on my phone dimmed. Something black and polished reflected back from the wall like water, but thicker. I leaned closer. It leaned back. Delay of half a second. My radio popped, static, then a man's breathless voice whispering my own name. I climbed fast, but the steps kept coming. When I reached the top, I was at the boiler again, but the door behind me still stood open, stairwell leading down, and from below came a faint knock like someone drumming on wood, asking for help. This morning I went back with another worker. The wall behind the boiler is solid concrete, no door, no stair, but my radio, unplugged, dead battery, still clicks every few minutes, 3 times. the rhythm of someone climbing steps, slow and deliberate. The mirror cost $5, came with an apology. We just want it gone. I'm Lila, decorator. I thought it was antique smoke glass, perfect for my entryway. That night, it reflected the hallway normally until I turned off the light. Then faint candlelight glowed inside its frame. I leaned close. In that reflection, a woman stood halfway down the hall. She wore what I'd worn yesterday. She lifted her hand and touched the mirror from her side. When I reached out, the glass bowed inward like skin pressed from within. The next morning, the mirror hung crooked, one nail bent. My reflection lagged by a blink. Behind me in the image, the hallway door was open even though it wasn't. I wrapped the mirror in a sheet, left it by the curb. 5 minutes later, it was back on the wall, hooks already straightened. The woman in the reflection smiled with my teeth but kept her eyes on the door. Now, every night at 2:16, the door in the reflection opens. Mine stays shut. The candlelight flickers brighter, closer. I moved the dryer to fix a leak and found a door I've never seen. I'm Mason, single-bedroom rental, laundry closet at the end of the hall. The door was flush, painted the same white, handle rusted but warm. I pushed it open to a small square room, no floorboards, just concrete dust and a faint hum like air moving through a throat. My dryer light flickered, dimmed, then shut off. In that dark, I heard someone step once inside the new room. Just one step, heel, then toe, perfectly measured. The smell of hot dust grew sweeter, metallic. When I pulled back, the door closed itself with a polite sigh. The wall looked solid again, but from inside the vent hose came a slow exhale that synced with my breathing, in and out, until I unplugged everything. Now, whenever the dryer spins, it thumps once too many times, 5 beats instead of 4, like a heart remembering practice. The hallway light clicks on exactly 3 minutes after I turn it off. I'm Rebecca, renting the top floor of a narrow townhouse. The switch is old, plastic warm to the touch. Every night at 11:42, the bulb glows by itself. No hum, no flicker, just light. The first time, I assumed the timer was broken. I replaced the switch. Same thing. I even pulled the bulb out completely and went to bed. At 11:42, I woke to a pale circle of light on the floor where the bulb should be, soft, breathing like fog. 2 nights later, I heard footsteps in that glow, slow and measured, stopping outside my door. When I peered through the peephole, the hall was dark again, but the smell of warm dust filled the gap under the door like someone breathing close. I recorded it last night. Total blackness until 11:42, then light. The reflection in the floor shows a person walking through, but the hallway camera caught no one. This morning, the bulb was screwed back in, threads perfect, glass cold. It still turns on at 11:42. I've stopped turning it off. I live alone. The building intercom buzzes most nights, and a child's voice asks, "Can I come up?" I'm Matthew, 6A. There is no 6B. It's sealed behind drywall since the fire last spring. The voice is always polite. The first time I said, "You have the wrong number," and the speaker replied, "No, you're the one." Static swallowed it. At 3:06 a.m. last week, the buzzer held for 30 seconds. When I checked the hallway camera, a small silhouette stood facing my door, arms at its sides. No face, just outline. I knocked on the walls separating 6A and 6B. Someone knocked back, softer, slower, but exactly in rhythm. Maintenance swears 6B is empty. Last night, the child's voice said, "I'm already here." And the doorknob cooled instantly, metal wet like breath. I sleep with a chair against it now, but the buzzer still rings, 3 short, 1 long, as if reminding me the wall isn't really a wall. The digital recorder played something new each time I pressed play. Always my own voice. I'm Dana, wildlife survey volunteer. The field outside Maple Creek is silent except for insects and the old scarecrow swaying on its stick. I recorded wind for 10 minutes. Playback 1. "Dana, stay." My voice, flat. Playback 2. "He's behind you." I turned. Only the scarecrow. I walked toward it. The smell of rot grew strong. The recorder clicked on in my pocket by itself and said, "Don't look down." So of course I did. Boot prints, my size, circled the scarecrow twice, ending behind it. My hands started shaking. I ran back to the truck. In the reflection of the window, something stood behind me, shoulders like mine, head cocked wrong. When I checked the recorder later, every file was gone except one titled "Final." It's 3 seconds long. Wind. A breath. Then my voice whispering, "I'm still out here." The campus lot has a vent shaft that exhales once every hour. Last week, it whispered my name. I'm Sean, night security. Students leave their cars. I watch empty pavement. At 2:15, the vent sighed, then spoke. Sean. Not echo, not wind. I shone my flashlight down the grate. Metal ladder, darkness, and a pale reflection like eyes at knee level. Then 2 more, farther back. When I called facilities, the line crackled with breathing that matched mine until I stopped talking. The vent sighed again and blew a handful of dry leaves straight up the ladder, even though there was no wind that night. I covered it with a traffic cone. The cone slid 6 inches on its own, scraped once, then settled as if someone beneath adjusted it. Now, the vent sighs every half hour. Always ends with a faint laugh that sounds like me trying not to answer. I bought a picture frame from a thrift shop. It came with an old photo, a woman sitting by a window, blurred smile. I replaced it with my own photo. That night, the glass fogged over from inside. When I wiped it clean, the woman was back, faintly visible behind mine. Each morning, she's clearer, her hand lifted slightly higher toward the glass. Yesterday, my photo slid forward, like something behind it pushed. I took the frame apart. There was no second photo inside, just my print. But when I reassembled it, the woman smiled wider, eyes glancing past me toward the doorway. I left it face down. This morning it was upright again. My reflection in the glass was smiling. Hers wasn't.